Hello, everybody. It's Miss Weiss. I am going to try something new. And for math, I'm going to teach you the lessons with the PowerPoint because the PowerPoints are confusing. And I know that. So I'm going to try to help kind of talk you guys through it. So students, you can be watching each lesson and I'm going to talk it through with the PowerPoint, kind of like I would do at school with the smartboard. So I'm going to ask questions. You guys can answer them at home, and then I will tell you the worksheets that go along with them each day. So you're going to be doing a math lesson about every other day, and then you'll be doing a reading lesson alternating days as well. So if you follow the map that is posted for weeks 3 and 4, that will help you know which day to do what. If you want to use it, it's up to you. If you want to do it at your own pace, that's fine too. So today we are doing module 3 of unit 7, and we are starting with session 1. So this is called 10 Steps on the Path. You guys did a little bit of work with the paths last week with Hansel and Gretel. So let's read what's different today. Over the last few days, we've been helping Hansel and Gretel mark the walking paths near the little house in the woods. Well, now the trails are so well marked that many people who live in the village nearby are starting to use them too. So the two children decided to clean up the trails a bit. They decided it would be nice to put in some fences and benches and plant some pretty flowers. They decided that each fence section should be 10 steps long, each bench should be 5 steps long, and each flower pot should be only 1 step long. So we're going to use those to mark our paths today. So here's a picture that goes with it. The fence, it shows you is 10 steps. And, the fence is 10 steps. The bench is 5, and the flower pot is 1 step. So I'm going to ask you a few questions kind of to see if we can put those numbers together. So in this one, we have a fence, a flower pot, a bench, and then 4 more flower pots. So this is that picture down here, the bottom one. How many flower pots do you see in this row right here that I'm showing you? How many flower pots do you see? So you should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flower pots. So we know each flower pot is worth 1 step. So if 1 flower pot is 1 step long, 5 flower pots would be 5 steps long. You can answer, shout it out at home. All right, good. Now let's talk about the bench in this picture. Here's the bench. The bench is 5 steps long. So if you think about it, on this half, we have 5 flower pots and 1 bench. So that's 5, and the flower pots equal 5 also. So just keep that in mind. And the fence. So we already kind of did this section over here. Now the first section is just 1 fence. And 1 fence is how many steps? 10. So if I wanted to know how long is this whole section, you need to think fence, flower pot, bench, 4 more flower pots. So let me try something here. So we have, let me make myself smaller. There we go. So if we have a bench, that is, that's my eraser. There we go. A bench is 10 steps long plus, a fence. Did I say that? A fence is 10 steps long. Then we have a flower pot, that's 1 step long. Then we have a bench, that's 5. And then we have 4 flower pots at the end. So what you could do, there's some different ways you could do this. You could say 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Or if you wanted to make it easier, you could put all those together and just write the number 4. So we want to add these numbers up. So if we take a look at it, what could we do to make this easier? This is a lot of numbers. I wonder if there's two numbers we could put together that would make it easier. One way you could do it is the 4 and the 1 would equal 5. So then we would have our 10 still, and then this 5, and then we just made a 5 out of the 1 and the 4. So 10 plus 5 plus 5. Now, are there any other numbers you could put together in here to make that easier? 10 plus 5 plus 5. What would you do? You could do a doubles fact. 5 plus 5 equals 10. So we have 10 plus 10. Okay? So think about what 10 plus 10 is. When you're ready, just yell it out. 10 plus 10 is 20. Very good. Okay, let's scooch back over to our PowerPoint. And so this whole length is 20. And if you look down here, do you see the gates? There's just a fence and another fence. That's 10 and 10. That would be an easier way to do it. When there's lots of things, we have more numbers to add. So another way you can do this is using cubes. I know I sent some cubes home with you. You could use Legos. You could be creative. Whatever you have around the house would work. So for the fence, they use 10 red cubes in a train like this. The bench, 5 cubes. They use blue, five blue cubes. And then a flower pot is a green one. And if you click this link, it will take you to a place where you can actually use cubes if you would like. That's up to you, though. You can build at home, too. You guys see my dog back there? All right, so let's use cubes now. So if we were going to talk about two benches, that would be 5 and 5. So go ahead and yell out, how much would that be? There's a picture of the cubes here, too. 5 and 5. 5 plus 5 equals 10. So 2 benches would be 10 steps long. Now here is 1 bench and 3 flower pots. So 1 bench is 5, and each flower pot is 1, 1, 1. So how much would that be? You could think 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, or you could say 5 plus 3. Either way is fine. How much is that all together? How many steps would that be? Yell it out. 8 steps. Good job. Okay, now we have 2 fences. Now we actually saw 2 fences in that picture, if you remember. So a fence is 10 and another fence is 10. How many steps would this be altogether? 10 plus 10 equals 20. Good job. And if you need to, you can actually count the cubes on this picture to help you. All right, so that is the end of today's lesson, but there is a worksheet that goes with it, and it should be in the same folder that you found this video. It should be under Math Session 1, and it is page 60, and it is called 10 Steps on a Path. So I pulled that up in Schoology. This is what it looks like for me. I'm thinking it might look the same for you, but I'm never totally sure. So it says Lesson 1, 10 Steps on the Path, page 60. And if you look, it does have page numbers at the bottom, so I'm trying to make that easier for you. So boys and girls, this is something that you could do some different ways. You could print this paper out. Now, I don't have a printer at my house, so if you're like me and you can't print this out, you can just build, or you could draw on a piece of paper. Now, there's nothing you're going to be turning in to me. I'm just going to trust that you're going to do it whichever way works best for you. So the directions are that you have a partner, and you might not have a partner, that's okay, but you're going to be making 10 steps on a path. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that you can do it. You're going to create a path that's 10 steps long, 5 different ways. So you could use a fence, you could use a bench, or you could use a flower pot. You could use any combination of those things. Now, if you want to use what we did in the PowerPoint, I believe the fence section was red the bench was blue, and the flower pot was green. Or you can pick your own colors and you can use that. So if you want to print this and actually color on these, you could say, oh, I'm going to do 2 benches. So I'm going to do blue, 5 blue and 5 more blue. That would work. Now, if you have cubes or Legos or something like that, you could just build 5 different ways, okay? You don't have to write anything down. Or you could draw something like this on your paper. You could draw, if you wanted to do 2 benches, you could draw 5 blue squares next to 5 more blue squares, and that would work too. So your goal is to come up with 5 paths that will equal 10 steps, okay? So that's where that paper is, and I will do the same thing for the next few lessons. Some of them are a little bit harder to do at home without having the materials in front of you, so we're just going to do the best that we can. And I'm hoping that this is an easier way for you guys to understand what the directions are for things. So I will see you guys tomorrow, or in a couple days maybe, for the next math lesson.